Hi everyone, it's Brittany and Katie with the Q Team in Rochester, New York. We are back for week 4, there it is, in our 5-week series on the process of what it looks like if you want to buy a home in 2022. And really, if we're being honest, any other year, it's the same process.
It's the same process. But if 2022 is your year to buy a home,
this is the process.
Start watching now.
Week 4 is you get to start looking at houses.
This is the most fun part.
It is.
We've gotten through, the nitty-gritty work of getting you ready, and now we get to start looking in person. So I guess tell us what that looks like.
Okay, so we've already met with each other. We've already gotten pre-approved, so we know what our budget is, and we've already gone over our wants and our needs. Mm-hmm. So we've determined what that looks like, what we hope the houses are going to look like, mm-hmm. And we've narrowed it in to what's available on the market, and we have a list of, let's say, 4 houses that we want to go see.
So what now?
I know, what now? So what that looks like is you're going to be set up on a search, and we're going to be monitoring the active inventory, upcoming inventory, any of our avenues that we have to find a house that fits what you are looking for. And when we find that, what we're going to do is we're going to set up an appointment to go see it in person. Do you want to describe what that looks like?
Sure. So basically,
it seems very basic for somebody who's been through it before.
Yes.
However, if this is going to be your first house, a lot of people are like, I don't.
What do I do?
I know.
How do I see this house?
Do I drive with you? Where do I meet you? What time do I show up?
So we got that. So basically, we figure out, based on your schedule, we determine a time that's available to go take a look at this home in person. Mm-hmm. So we set up the appointment on your behalf. We meet you over at the house, and we, have our time slot to be able to walk through and take a look at, the interior, the exterior, and kind of determine what you like and what you don't like. Mm-hmm. And I always describe to my buyers, like, when you're walking through this house, I want you to be focusing on the things that are like important from what you can tell of, like, do I like the layout? Mm-hmm. Do I like the space? Can I see myself here? Can you imagine your furniture here, your kids here, you in the backyard, whatever. And you're really kind of trying to get a feel for does this feel and seem like something that could work for us? And what we're doing on our end is we have a laundry list of things that we know that we need to look for. So we are checking out the roof, right? There's a lot going on there. You don't want to see. But basically, we're looking at, the roof and the furnace and mm-hmm. the mechanicals and seeing there's all sorts of red flags that we have gone through a trillion inspections that we know to look for that could be something that we want further looked at or to make sure that it's not an issue. But basically, we're kind of doing that stuff on the back end of there's a water spot in the ceiling mm-hmm. or water stain, let's take a look. Let's feel that. See if it's soft. Let's see if it might be a current leak, things like that you may, especially if you're a first-time buyer, you may not think to or know to look for.
And something important to note is that most times we're going to be able to get a 30-minute showing slot. Mm-hmm. So that's why Brittany's saying it's important for you to focus on the house and how it mm-hmm. feels and the layout and that type of detail. And that's why we're doing the fine-tooth comb looking for you, so that you're not wasting time looking for that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, if you walk through it and you're like, oh my gosh, I think we love this, but I want to come back a second time. Either I want to, bring my parents. A lot of people want to bring their parents mm-hmm. for their first one. Or let's say you're buying it with a significant other and they weren't able to make it for that showing. Whatever the reason may be, there's always the opportunity to schedule a second showing if there's an available time slot. Yeah. So just because that we have a 30-minute time slot doesn't mean that, in and out 30 minutes, you can see it again after closing. Right. There's definitely options. And then what we're also trying to do when we're looking at it from our set of eyes is what might an inspector point out? Mm-hmm. Are there any major issues that I can see that maybe I want to take a quick picture of and send it to an inspector and be like, hey, have you seen this before? Right. Could you describe this to me? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So those are the things that we're doing on our end, especially with how quick and swift this market is. We're making sure that we are kind of going through with those, that lens in mind. And I think it's really, really helpful. Now that we're in this process, we just started looking, you're going to very quickly learn and realize what is important on that list. Mm-hmm. You're going to be drawn to certain things. You're going to decide, I hate this style of house, or I'm really drawn to, the types of homes that have, this layout of a kitchen, or, whatever it may be. You're going to quickly narrow in that list. And that's why we kind of keep the list broad to start. Yep. And then we narrow in, and then by the time, usually, if if you haven't found the one in the first couple houses, then usually by, a couple in, you're really like, you are strongly, confident.
You're like a better looker.
Exactly. You know what you're looking for. Some people walk in and they're like in there for 3-4 minutes and they're like, yeah, no, not the one. And we're like, all right,
after the first few, it's definitely a lot easier to go in and look and tell. I'm not going to say instantly because it's not always instantly, but like in the first few minutes, like if it's not going to work, you're going to know it's not going to work right away. And so I'll tell people a lot of times, like, if this isn't going to work, then let's get out of here, because there's no point in you maybe falling in love with one piece of this house and it's not going to work.
Yourself into thinking it's the one.
Right, you're wasting brain space.
Exactly.
I also thought of something else. Do we work nights and weekends?
Of course.
Okay. So I have a lot of people say, like, when are we supposed to look at houses? I work until 5. And I'm like, good news for you. We work at night and we work on the weekends because we get that everybody has different work schedules. Even if you're working from home, you might not have the luxury of being able to sneak out for a daytime showing. So we know that. Do not feel bad if you request a nighttime showing. Do not feel bad if you request a weekend showing. We signed up for this when we chose this career because it's what we want to do. We want to help you when we can help you.
Home.
Right.
Yep. So whatever that looks like, we make it work. So that's the beauty.
That's how you look at
the fun part. That's the fun part of getting to look at homes. So we will be back next week for our final part 5 of our series. And then you are going to be fully equipped to start the process if you're looking to buy a home in 2022. So see you next week.